Welcome to Anime Recall. Today, I will explain a 2017 anime series called The Duke of Death and His Maid. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The story starts as a young boy known as the Duke of Death is mostly believed to be cursed by a witch 10 years ago when he was living with his family. The curse is quite a formidable one, as the consequences include death of anything that has life in them if he touches them, or if they come in contact with him. He has a maid, Alice, who has been a childhood friend to him. She is the only maid who serves and stays with him in the castle, damning the consequences of being too close to him at proximity range. She also teases him with her body, enjoying the way he always reacts. A childhood friend of the Duke requests to see him, which causes the latter to be quite anxious since he hardly receives visitors. When his awaited visitor arrives, he realizes after all, he was forced to visit him as he calls him a monster and swears not to come again. This shatters all of the Duke's hope, and for this, he is determined to break his curse and repay Alice for all her kindness to him. The butler serving him is quite an elderly man. He returns to work after a break, and for fear of the old man losing his sight slowly, the Duke gets worried. Duke decides to invest more of his time on his piano skills, so that someday it could be a living skill for him. On a certain day, he receives an abrupt visit from his younger sister, who has a wild and girly behavior. She admits she wants him to break the curse as soon as possible so he could come back home. Bumping into the villa's butler, her face blushes hard with a dreamy look revealing that she has a crush on the old man. Later that night, Duke and his maid waltz beautifully under the shining moon. They succeed in not touching each other throughout their dance, and as it ends, he asks her what she feels for him, and she admits she adores him. A festival is held in town, and Alice is able to convince Duke to attend with her. He is adorned with a very heavy costume so that if anyone comes in contact with him, they won't die. A masked woman approaches Alice in a suspicious manner. More so, a lost child holds onto Duke and cries desperately. To ease the child, he cites a piano and decides to play it. The tunes do not only please the child, but the others who hang around for the festival. The festival comes to a pleasing end, but the Duke regrets he could not touch her during the date. Later at night, Duke takes her to see the meteors on a boat. Alice ends up teasing him for a kiss and makes him miss the meteors when they both fall in the water. Duke is upset for missing the occasion and not telling Alice that he loves her like he initially planned to. The next day, Alice does not tease him like she always does. Worried she might be angry with him, he later learns that she has a cold, which causes him relief. The duo later spend an eventful day outside as it snows, and after retiring back inside, Alice realizes that she lost her precious earrings gifted by her late mother. Duke sneaks out into the severe snow and digs around to find it for her. Unable to locate it, he almost passes out in the cold snow, but he gets rescued by a witch, who later helps him to retrieve the lost earrings with magic. He invites her inside the house and allows her to settle down very well. He later asks her if she has any knowledge about his curse, but she says she has zero clue on it. She also talks about how witch hunters have killed her parents before, so she does not trust them that much. After the little chit-chats, she transforms into a bat and flies away. Duke's sister visits once again and comes up with a declaration of teaching Alice how to look cute. However, when she sees the butler, she fails terribly in making a cute face like she taught Alice to. And before she leaves, she reminds her brother to be swift on finding the cure for his curse. Duke and Alice go skating and get to meet a magic user, who is the friend to the witch, who appeared in the villa earlier on. Alice also finds the witch and helps to warm her up. And so, the witch and her male friend both decide to join in the skating. After having a wonderful time together, the magic user promises to take Duke to the next witch's sabbath so that he may get a clue on the witch that cursed him. Duke's sister visits again, deciding to have a sleepover with Alice, thereby having a girls' hangout and discussing so much together. Realizing his conversatory is overgrown, Duke and Alice make a move to clear it out, and he braids a crown of dead leaves to appreciate Alice. While she takes a shower later on, a cat takes her gown away, which leaves her half naked, creating more opportunity to tease Duke. The day for the Sabbath eventually comes, and the witch with the magic user takes Alice and Duke after disguising them to blend in with the witch world. In not less than a few minutes, the meeting comes to an end, shocking Duke greatly. The Sabbath leader also reveals she knew Alice's mother and addresses Duke, saying the witch who cursed him died long ago. She dismisses them off by burning their disguise and causing an uproar within the witch's realm. Although Duke is disappointed on not getting that much help, he appreciates the duo for helping him out. The duo, in return, reassure him that they would be friends on their next visit. After the experience at the Witch's Sabbath, Alice is determined to remove Duke's curse by doing research on different measures. 1. She does include Duke playing a musical tune of a ghost songwriter till the very end without making a mistake. Eventually, the effect is of no use in breaking his curse. Duke's sister tells him of the suspension bridge effect so that he can make Alice fall for him. However, he ends up getting scared at his own plans to scare her and breaks the old generational flower vase in the villa. The butler appreciates him for retrieving an important jewelry that was stolen and hidden in the flower vase, but does not fail to get angry for toying with the generational flower. Duke hides so as to avoid the scoldings and anger from his butler afterwards. Duke and Alice wake up to being in a fantasy island and remember that they got invoked by a magical book that cures curses. They, however, get carried away by spending time together in the dream instead of doing the actual deal, and so they couldn't have access to a cure. Duke's brother has always hated being the second choice to be the heir, and for that, he despises Duke and is enraged as to why his sister always visits him. On a snowy night, Alice and Duke are having a wonderful time together, while the former reminisces on how she met Duke when she was much younger and how much the curse has affected him till now. She remembers how he almost gave up on life and how she rescued him out from the dark life he was engulfed in. After returning to the mansion with her, he realized he started falling in love with her afterwards. Duke decides to host a little party for Christmas Eve, and as usual, his sister visits and carries a handkerchief as a gift for the butler. Her brother sneaks in her wagon as the driver, so he could see how his elder brother is faring. A mix-up happens, which leads him to exposing himself in a not-so-good way. Duke is happy to see his brother again after so many years, but the latter confronts him, saying he does not wish to be a backup plan or a second choice. Duke has to settle the argument with his sister and the witch over who owns the gift she initially brought for the butler. Having settled them, his brother offers a wager, saying if he finds the cure for his curse before him, then the Duke should give up on becoming the next heir, and so they agreed upon it. The rest of the Christmas Eve evening becomes peaceful and eventful. Alice dreams about her mother and the moment they spent before her death when she was still young. Back in the mansion, Duke's mother is annoyed that her both children skipped the Christmas Eve dinner at home and spent it outside. The magic user decides to allow his witch friend to go shopping on her own after his eyes were opened to the fact that she always depends on him. Although he trails her to monitor if she does well, he realizes she isn't that bad on her own after all. Meanwhile, Alice is troubled within and relates her fear to the butler, who has been like an old father figure to the Duke. She fears that though Duke loves her and vice versa, they would someday separate because of their different background and status. Duke later plays a melodious tune and invites her to sing along. The time they have is splendid, and after relishing in the moment, Alice reminisces on the fact that eventually they would part once the curse is broken. Duke's sister is determined to cure his curse, and so she finds a servant's logbook after an intense search in the mansion. Having a major clash with her mother, she decides she wants to move into the villa of Duke's. She hands the logbook to Alice, who starts reading the book for a clue. The Sabbath leader, who has been spying all these while, requests for the magic user and asks him to unfriend all the humans, or else consequences will follow through. After relaying the message to them and letting them know he still has intentions on being friends with them, he steals the logbook and attempts to burn it to ashes as instructed. However, Duke catches him when Alice makes it known that the book was missing. The magic user feels remorseful and promises he will not destroy the logbook, and prefers he has a solution to conceal he has burnt the book, when actually he would regenerate it when the Sabbath leader revokes her surveillance on his witch friend. Duke gets to be invited to the mansion to see his mother after so many years. He is surprised and does not hesitate to hearken to it, although anxiety swells inside him greatly. When he arrives, his mother has a brief talk with him, dismissing him almost immediately. The next morning, they all sit around for breakfast. She explains the situation to him. Since their father is seriously ill, with no sign of getting better anytime soon, she wants him to cure his curse no matter what it takes, so that he could take over as the heir. She also gives an ultimatum for that if he does not meet the deadline of curing his curse, his brother would be the heir instead. After making her own instructions clear, Duke also puts his own words across, that is, declaring his love for his maid, Alice. She refuses to allow union between them, and for that, he is enraged and says his mind before storming out of her presence. He assures Alice thereafter that no matter what, he would marry her. For more anime recaps like this, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. As always, like and comment to help out our channel. Thanks for watching.